Hi there, this is Erica Merrill, and I'm the founder of Perfect Legal Video, and I am very excited to have with us today attorney Jim Sorenson. He is partner over at Sorenson Van Leuven Law Firm. They are out of Tallahassee, but they work in both Florida and Georgia for credit unions exclusively. So I want to welcome you to the show today, Jim. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today, Erica. I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic. So let's talk about this incredible event that you have on an annual basis normally. I know COVID kind of messed that up last year, but as I understand it, it's coming back, and it's actually a fantastic event that I attended and filmed a couple of years ago. And I'm really excited that you're bringing it back because I know how much your clients love it. So let's talk about this conference and, tell the audience what it is exactly.
Yeah. So we are excited to be hosting this event again. Last year, unfortunately, that did not happen, and really was bummed about that. But we're excited to be having it this year, and we've hosted this for over 15 years now. And our annual conference is for credit unions. It's held in Orlando, and this year it's held in Orlando, the same place we had it 2 years ago. And the conference has continued to grow over the years. We've added more topics, we've added more content, and we've changed the event up and made it more dynamic. And this event is held over a 3-day period. We have an optional hands-on training on Wednesday afternoon, and then we have all day Thursday and Friday morning. We also have events both Wednesday and Thursday night, social events. So it is a rather involved event.
Oh, I know. It was definitely just go from sun up to sundown. What are the dates this year that you have procured?
Yeah, the dates for the event this year are July 21st through July 23rd. So that is a Wednesday through a Friday. And it's being held at the Florida Mall Hotel in Orlando.
I know. And that is a great hotel. I did some shopping while I was there because I needed a sweater. It was cold. But yeah, I did not realize. I mean, this is going to be an answer to a question that I actually don't know. You call the event SVL SourcExpo, and I would love to hear, what is that? Where did you get that name?
Yeah, so that name was worked up between myself, Whitney in my office, and actually our web design guy, who helps us with our website. And so when we started talking about wanting to develop a landing page for this event, the idea was, okay, we've got to name it and come up with something more than just SVL Client Conference. So the idea was to come up with to make it more, because it's not just a seminar, it's really an expo. It's really more than just a seminar. And we wanted to emphasize that it's a source for great information, great content. So we were playing with words and came up with SourcExpo, and it seems to work. And so that's what we've named it, the SVL SourcExpo. And our goal is to provide quality training that instructs, that sparks innovation, and inspires participants to greatness. So that is something we've been really trying to work on the last couple of years.
Oh, that's really great. I love it. So the thing that I noticed about the event is that you have so many amazing topics that you discuss. And gosh, I found a lot of them interesting. I think one of the ones that I constantly think about is disaster recovery and really how to deal with a disaster. And I just remember thinking, everyone thinks about the hurricanes in Florida and how bad things might happen to people. But really the stories you guys were telling during that event, just like people trying to get to their credit unions so that they could open for their clients. And sometimes there'd be a giant tree in the way and they'd have to get off and climb over it and walk from there. And I mean, just incredible stories. And, how to really prepare yourself for that. And I wonder, when you guys are putting this incredible event together, how do you approach the goal of instructing, innovation, and inspiration?
Yeah, so I think that that topic you just brought up, the disaster recoveries and collections, was one that really came out of working with clients through Hurricane Michael, which hit the panhandle of Florida and impacted a lot of our clients, and had several clients where their buildings were impacted. They were not able to work in their buildings, and so started looking at all the aspects of that. And so we put together a panel of some people who gave some background on the struggles they faced, and then I tried to provide some practical uh, insight and practical information, and just really how to plan ahead for that. And so that was a well received topic. It led to a lot of good discussion, and I think that's an example of what we're trying to do. So what we try to do in this seminar is we try to provide content or information that is practical. And what I would see a lot of times is seminars were done, events were done where the information was very impractical. It was hard for people to put in practice. It was scholarly, if you will, but not very practical. And what we want to do is not just provide good content, but provide useful and practical content. And then what we want to do beyond that is we want to seek to create innovation. And so what we wanted to do was create create a spot that people in the credit union could come together, collaborate with their peers, learn from their peers. And the typical seminar, everybody is sitting in the same spot. They're in rows facing the speaker, and it doesn't really promote the conversation. So one of the things we did a couple of years ago was go to a round table and to mix up where people sat, to actually force people to get out of their comfort zone and sit at different tables throughout the event. And what that does is that causes people to share, learn, meet people they wouldn't otherwise meet. And then last, what we want to do is celebrate people's success, celebrate people who have fixed a problem at their credit union, who has solved a problem at their credit union, who has achieved some level of success or achieved a goal, and share that and share how they did it and walk through that. And so, last time we did this, we had someone speak about who started a recovery department out of nothing, and what they were able to do at that point. I think we were about 18 months in, and what they were able to do over those 18 months, and not just share what the outcome was, but the steps along the way that other people could learn from. So that is what we aim to do, and that is what we're aiming to do again this year.
Well, and that's exactly right. I absolutely am impressed with how practical the information is. I mean, so many events you go to, and half the time you're just listening to basics that everybody already knows. And that might be helpful to people that are new to a credit union, but you're not going to go to an event year after year to listen to the basics. And you have people that come to that event every single year who absolutely value it. They look forward to it. And then they go back to their credit unions and they share the information that they learn, and it makes them better. And I know that because I filmed all the testimonials. So I know all about it. So I wanted to mention too that I agree with you that I think a big reason people learn from these events are like they learn from each other. They learn from each other's successes and their failures. And what I love is that it's not just about listening to lectures. You have a lot of time set aside for the people that of the credit unions to get together and discuss in roundtable format some of the situations that they've dealt with and the problems and how they've been able to overcome it. And in fact, you even have people come up on stage and talk about it. You have everybody review what they went through during their roundtable discussions. And you could just see the light bulbs clicking on for some of these situations that people were having trouble with, and now they've got a solution. And it's all because they are collaborating with other credit unions. And there are not a lot of areas where competitors will get together and collaborate like this. And you've really made a wonderful environment for them to be able to do that and to help each other up.
Yeah, and that's what excites me. That's what really the way we've been able to continue to draw that out and continue to create that space for collaboration has been really the key to this event's success.
I agree. It's an amazing event. Now, we all know that last year lots of events got canceled because of COVID-19, and people seem to be peeking their heads out of their shells right now and getting back out into public a little bit because there are guidelines set up. Now, for events, I know it's different. It's going to be different than the last time you had this event. And I'm just curious, from your perspective, like, what are some of the things that you're doing to help keep your attendees safe?
Yeah, so we're planning as if we're still going to be in full COVID mode. None of us know what the future holds a couple months from now. My hope is we're not having to worry about it like we do today, but we're planning on it's still the same. So, we've obtained a large enough room at the hotel to where we're holding this event to allow for social distancing. We've had those conversations with the hotel. We've made sure that the hotel is taking the proactive steps they need to take to keep their guests safe, and in turn we can keep our guests safe. So we've got a big room. We're going to be spread out. We're going to be doing the social distancing that we've all learned to and have come to know. We are having to change some things up. So, for example, one of the things that we started doing a couple of years ago, and it just worked out well, is we always have a time for questions and answers from the audience. And to make sure everybody hears, we use a throw mic, and the throw mic is a lot of fun. People enjoy that. If you're not familiar with the throw mic, I know you are, Erica, but if someone listening isn't familiar with the throw mic, it's basically almost like a Nerf box with a microphone in it, and you can toss it to somebody across the room. And it was a lot of fun last times we've used it. People enjoyed that, and it made it easy to make sure everybody could hear the question being asked in the room. Well, obviously with COVID and concerns about germs, we're not going to be throwing mics across the room. We're not going to be tossing mics. So we're going to have to change that up. We're going to have a mic in the room that people will have to go to ask questions. We'll have to wipe that mic down in between each user. So there are things like that we're going to have to address. And then, our event in the evening, we would have social events. We would typically do one night a big dinner. That's probably going to look different. Our social events will look different because of social distancing and those types of things. And our plan right now is to take temperature checks of attendees before they enter the event. Again, these are all subject to change depending upon whatever the CDC guidelines and government guidelines are at that time, but we're preparing based on current guidelines.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And, I'm really happy to hear that. And I'm sure it'll make a lot of people feel comfortable about coming to the event. And so I feel like that's kind of just business I had to get out of the way. I'd love to hear more about some of the upcoming topics that you plan on having for this year. And I feel like because of everything that's going on with the pandemic, it's just really a great example of how the current information that you give people on how to handle situations that are happening right now is so valuable. So lay it on me.
Yeah, so this year, the topics we've identified so far, and we always leave some room to add things as new issues arise. But the topics we have lined up so far are on Wednesday. Wednesday is our hands-on day. So these tend to be the smaller optional days. So not as many people attend. These are more hands-on. They're not lectures. They're actually working through problems. So we're gonna have two topics that day. One is on negotiating effective payment plans. So this will walk people through some examples, some hypotheticals. We'll probably use a couple examples from the crowd and just walk through negotiating payment arrangements with borrowers. The ups and downs. We'll talk a lot of practical things. There'll be some instructive things, some things you shouldn't do, some things you should do, but a lot of it's going to be real practical. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about handling small claims without a lawyer. So, that event is actually designed for people to come and learn how to go to court on their own and not have to pay a lawyer. So, I'm actually working against my own interest there, because I'm teaching you how to do it yourself in what we call small claims court. So those two are going to be well received, and I think there will be a lot of interest in it. And then when you go to the main conference Thursday and Friday, we have bankruptcy issues affecting credit unions. We have collections and the new normal. How does collections look in the COVID-19 world, or maybe we'll be talking about a post-COVID-19 world, whatever that is. What does that look like? We're also going to address mortgage foreclosures and loss mitigation in the COVID-19 world. We're going to look at one of the topics that comes up a lot, especially for our Florida credit unions, is deceased accounts and collections. How does a credit union handle a deceased account? What are the issues related to collections? These are a lot of, in Florida, because we have an elderly population, my clients, they tend to have a larger number of elderly members. And so this is a more common topic for Florida credit unions, but all credit unions deal with this. And we're going to spend some time on that. We're going to talk about the new debt collection rule that the CFPB passed last fall that will go into effect later this year. And we're also going to address any other CFPB hot topics that come up. And we're going to have some other regulatory and risk updates. So we're also planning another panel discussion. Those are usually well received, and that includes certain people from the credit union industry who will be on a panel. I'll moderate that panel. What exactly we're going to be discussing is yet to be seen. I've got a couple ideas, but I've got to continuing to work to identify the right people to participate in that panel and be part of that event. So,
I mean, that sounds really exciting. And if I was credit union, I'd hate to miss it. So I know that you have some new things planned for this year for the event that people didn't see in past events. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we're always looking on ways, how can we improve this? How can we take it to the next level? And so, one of the things that we're working on and have in the works is including vendors. So this was an idea floated by a couple different past attendees who said, it'd be really nice to have vendors here. So we're in the process of soliciting vendors to attend. We've made the event affordable for vendors to attend. And of course, the advantage of getting the vendors there is the vendors have an opportunity to connect with their customers or to connect with potential new customers. But the vendors also bring their own perspective on different issues that they're trying to work with the credit unions to solve. And, the vendors, most of the vendors who participate in events like this, they do drawings. So this is an opportunity for people to win prizes. We did, speaking of new things, two years ago, we did prizes from the stage where they could pick an envelope, and it had different denominations of cash in it. And we used that throughout the event, and that was well received. Anytime someone can win a prize. So the adding of the vendors and the prizes will be another opportunity to take this event to the next level. So that's our big change. We have some other smaller changes in the works, but that's the one that I think is going to be most visible to everybody.
Oh, I remember that. There was a lot of excitement around the cash in the envelopes, as there should be. So can you tell us, how do we get into this amazing event with this amazing information that you just can't miss out on right now?
Yeah, so to register for the event, you just go to our firm's website, www.svllaw.com. And on the front page, there's a link. You click on that, that will take you to the landing page, and you can register there. There's more information there. There's information about not only the conference, but the hotel, and those types of things. So you can also reach out to Whitney in our office. Her information is listed on that landing page. And the pricing and everything is all there. So we've kept the price consistent from the 2019 event. In light of COVID, in light of everything that's happened, we've frozen the price. So people are going to get even more than they did 2 years ago at the same price.
I think that's great. How can you pass that up? And of course, I'll have this contact information on this video. And if you're looking at this on social media, it will be in the post as well. So we'll make this easy for you. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for coming on and telling us about this. It sounds just like what a credit union would need to stay on top of what's happening right now and how they can protect themselves. And, if anyone here has watched our past interviews, really the Sorenson Van Leuven law firm, they do these videos and these interviews because they care. And the information that they're giving out, a lot of times it's free, and it's really to help save you thousands and maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars in mistakes down the road, just by making a mistake that you maybe didn't realize could happen. And it's nice to learn from someone else's mistakes and not have to pay for them yourselves. That's the way to do it and to get ahead in this world.
That's right. Let someone else pay the stupid tax, as it's called.
I love that saying. Well, I want to thank you everyone for watching. Enjoyed having you on the show, Jim, as usual, one of my favorite guests. And we will make sure we get this information out to everyone, and we hope to see you at this event.
Thanks, Erica. We're looking forward to seeing everyone at this event.
Okay. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.